Hello, beautiful people of the internet. We're here in Japan, in Nagoya, at the Mitsubishi Okazaki Test Center. This is the Mitsubishi Destinator. I'm Dick Scalanok, and you're watching CarGuide.PH. By the time you're watching this, the Mitsubishi Destinator should have been launched. So we're here to talk about our driving impression of the Mitsubishi Destinator. Because here in the Okazaki Test Center of Mitsubishi, we were able to drive this on many different scenarios that we cannot do on public road, which means that we were able to test out the full capability of the Mitsubishi Destinator. But a little bit of a caveat, because we didn't drive it on public roads in the Philippines, so what we test here might not be a direct reflection of what's going to be felt in our driving roads. So stick around for the full review of this car in the Philippines. But let's talk about the things that we can talk about. So in the product briefing, the three keywords that we were saying about the Mitsubishi Destinator are confident, capable, and prestige. And after driving this SUV, I have to say that they hit it spot on. You know, with the use of the technologies that they've learned throughout the years, especially with the Lancer Evolution and with the active yaw control, together with, you know, making SUVs and designing 7-seaters and maximizing the space inside, you can really tell that when it comes to the Mitsubishi Destinator, it is a true reflection of what Mitsubishi holds dear for their customers. So what we have inside the Mitsubishi Destinator is a 1.5-liter turbocharged gasoline engine that gives out 163 PS and 250 Newton meters of torque. Considering all that, this is a pretty powerful engine. But the unique thing is, most conventional turbochargers, if you were to look at it, it has intercooler which is positioned in the front of the bumper, and then it connects back to the engine, which makes around 3 meters worth of travel for the air. With this case though, they have a totally different approach. So you're actually looking at the intercooler of the Mitsubishi Destinator, which is right here. And this intercooler is not a regular intercooler. This is actually a water-cooled intercooler. So if you look right here, this blue fluid over here, this is what cools the intercooler. And then if you take a peek over here, this is where the turbocharger is located. So instead of having a 3-meter air travel for the turbocharger, the Mitsubishi Destinator only has 0.5 meters. That's a big reduction on air travel, which means that this car is a lot more responsive. So when it comes to turbo lag that's present on most other turbocharged vehicles, the Mitsubishi Destinator, it has very minimal turbo lag because of how they designed the turbocharger system. Together with this is a CVT, and because this is designed for ASEAN markets, they did consider the 6-speed and 8-speed transmission, and based on their testing and findings, it looks like the CVT is the best transmission to pair with this engine. And with the testing that we have done today, I tend to agree. So let's start with the exterior. You can see that they have their dynamic shield design and their T-shaped headlights, and at the back they have T-shaped tail lamps. And in terms of confidence and prestige, the Mitsubishi Destinator really checks those boxes. The Mitsubishi Destinator was designed for the ASEAN market, and clearly so, because when you look at the ground clearance of this has 240 millimeters of ground clearance. That's SUV territory. And not only that, the reason why it's 214 millimeters and not 240 plus is because underneath there is an undercarriage cover, because they also wanted this to be designed in such a way that the drag coefficient is kept as low as possible, making it more efficient and quieter. And speaking of ground clearance, let's talk about water wading, because the design of the front bumper of the Mitsubishi Destinator was done in such a way, like it looks like, you know, any other Mitsubishi, but it's done in such a way that if you were to drive through the flood, the water actually gets dispersed to the side. Pretty incredible stuff, because having good vision is also safety. And so even driving this on the flood, you have the ground clearance, you have the water wading capability. I love that this was designed for the ASEAN market, and one of them was specifically for the Philippines. And here on the side, we have a wraparound glass look and a C-pillar design that really shows off its masculine energy, so to speak. And here at the back, we have the dynamic shield still coming into play with the T-shaped tail lamps. So yeah, like the Destinator, if you see through our B-roll, it's really a good-looking car. So in the keywords of confident, capable, and prestige, you can see with the design of the Mitsubishi Destinator, from its aesthetics all the way to its purpose-driven designs, it really plays all those three so well. Now with that being said, let's go inside. So we're inside the interior of the Mitsubishi Destinator, and if there's one way to describe it, it's very reminiscent of the Mitsubishi X-Force, which is a very good thing. So as you can see, Mitsubishi really wants a strong, capable, prestigious interior with the design cues that they have here. So design-wise, you have beautiful, strong lines that are paired together with hexagonal shapes and curves at the right places. It's a clean look, but at the same time, it feels like you're well armed with the Mitsubishi Destinator. So here in front of the driver, we have an 8-inch multimeter display, and it has a lot of menus. And here at the center, we have a 12.3-inch infotainment system. And so scanning right now, there's Apple CarPlay and Android Auto and WebLink for connectivity. So I'm sure the Philippine version will have that as well. And then you have the avionics display right here. So you have the Adventurous, which has the location, tilt angle, direction, and then you have the Reliable. Well, that's the label, Reliable. It has the steering, active yaw control, and traction control. And then you have the Responsive, so there's the boost, the acceleration, and fuel economy. And then you have the driving score. You can have the vehicle information, which shows off a lot of nerdy things. With a lack of a better term, it shows a lot of nerdy things like brake percentage, coolant, injection, tire pressure, steering, acceleration, boost, torque. It's all in here, and even the G-forces of the Mitsubishi Destinator. So just like the Mitsubishi X-Force. And then you have climate control, so you can split the temperatures between the driver and passenger. Another new thing with the Mitsubishi Destinator is that it has the 5 drive modes. The drive mode before, there was 4 with normal, wet, gravel, and mud. So the new one on the Mitsubishi Destinator is tarmac. So what's tarmac mode? How is it different from normal mode? So normal mode, yeah, it's for normal roads, normal pavement. But when you put it on tarmac mode, it's more for winding roads. So if you're going up to Tanay or Baguio and you want that stronger on-road performance, you can put it in tarmac mode, and you really start to feel that the Mitsubishi Destinator is more planted. It holds, like, it tries to grab more traction, you know, while you're turning the vehicle around. So that's the new part, the drive mode. Instead of 4, it is now 5. So with that being said, let us now go to the second row. I had this seat pushed way back to accommodate me, and as you can see, when it comes to legroom, there's still a good amount of legroom. And they have to do so because it will allow this table to fold out without having to move around your legs so much. This table seems like it can take up to 3 kilograms worth of items. So if you have a Happy Meal, or you have a drink, or you know, maybe a lightweight laptop, you can actually use this. And then you have a cell phone holder over here, a map holder over here. It's very convenient. And as you can see, I know it's a super wide angle, so it may look exaggerated, but if you see, I have almost 2 fistfuls worth of headroom, which means that this has a lot of headroom. And here at the center, we have aircon controls. So you can control the fans here at the rear. And then here you also have a USB-A and a USB-C port to charge your devices. So with all that, you can tell that the Mitsubishi Destinator, they really prioritized the second row space, but with giving very practical standard equipment to make it a more enjoyable experience. Now, with this being a 7-seater, let us check the third row. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is the third row of the Mitsubishi Destinator, and it was actually easy to move the seat. There's like one lever that makes it collapse and move all the way to the front. And at least from here, we have a cross section of the third row so you can gauge it for yourself. Now, I am a 6 foot, 250 pound Filipino, and I have to say, if I were to sit here, Initial impression of the third row. So I'll move here so you can sort of see a cross section. My foot will end up going underneath the second row in order for me to fit. And then when it comes to the knee, I'm gonna have to move my legs outward so that I can avoid hitting this, because if I move it like this, if I move it like inward in a line, my knee starts to hit the back. But you have to remember, guys, I'm a very big guy, especially in the Filipino standards. But all things considered, like your children or your petite friends, they will actually fit here comfortably. This really shows that when it comes to the third row design, the Mitsubishi team is really good at designing them. So whether you're looking at the current Mitsubishi Montero Sport, the Mitsubishi Expander, and now this, the Mitsubishi Destinator, it's a well-designed third row. So here we have the trunk space of the Mitsubishi Destinator, and I have to say, for a 7-seater, if you're filled up with passengers, you can probably put a few backpacks over here. It's not tiny, but it's not. I would say it's not like whoa. It's still a lot of space. But when you fold these seats down, this is where I think the magic starts to happen. So if you treat this as a 5-seater, you can see that this has a lot of cargo space. So like what I said a while ago, when it comes to cargo space on SUVs, so the second row, third row implementation, I think the Mitsubishi team does a really good job in designing it. And this is proof. With this flatbed profile, you can really put a lot of stuff here, balanced really well.
In the Mitsubishi Okazaki plant's proving grounds, we were able to extensively test the capabilities of the Mitsubishi Destinator. And I tell you, these were things that we cannot do in public roads. So it was fascinating to see how the Mitsubishi Destinator performed. We did the testing almost the whole day. And so I think the best thing is to summarize what we were able to test. So the first thing that we did was to test how it performed on wet roads and its water wading capability. And I have to say, the active yaw control, especially on wet driving mode, really shows how much control the Destinator can have even with just being front-wheel drive. And as for the water wading test, we were able to see that if in case the Mitsubishi Destinator had to go through floods, it is highly capable. And plus, the water really did move to the sides and not to the front windshield. The next test we did was the high-speed test, where we drove this around 150 kilometers per hour in an oval track. Not only was it stable at driving such speeds, the NVH levels were very impressive, all things considered. Next, we did a road condition test where we drove between broken roads, rumbly roads, and bad condition roads, and the suspension of the Mitsubishi Destinator held up very well. And then we did what they call the tarmac test, where we were essentially chasing a Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 9 through a track. Best way to describe it, it really felt like a scene in Fast and Furious. And with the tarmac driving mode, obviously we weren't going to be able to chase completely the Lancer Evo 9. But all things considered, the Mitsubishi Destinator was able to keep up in such a way that we were able to see the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 9 the whole time. And then after that, we did the mud test. So this is basically going off-road. As a pickup owner, the things we were doing were borderline I wish I had 4-wheel drive. The mud mode of the Mitsubishi Destinator proved that this can go places. And then after that, we did probably one of the scariest tests, the cross-country test as they called it, which basically was similar to the tarmac test, but we were driving it on soft road at high speed. And the result? Well, obviously we're still alive, but more than that, the Mitsubishi Destinator really shows his athleticism on and off the road. And then here, lastly, to end the day, it was a simple climbing up an incline at 30 degrees as you see right here, and at 50 degrees as you see right here as well. What this means is, when it comes to uphills, the Mitsubishi Destinator shouldn't have a problem. By the time we were done testing, it got really dark, so I wasn't able to record myself with a conclusion. But it gave me time to think of what I wanted to say with my experience of extensively testing the Mitsubishi Destinator in their Okazaki Plants Proving Grounds. Now I understand why the three words that Mitsubishi chose for the Destinator are confident, capable, and prestige. Confident because they know that the Mitsubishi Destinator delivers what the Filipino people needs. Capable because with all our extensive testing on that day, the Mitsubishi Destinator performed with flying colors. And with prestige, it is clear that Mitsubishi has been learning, applying, and learning again with all their experience in the automotive industry. And it is clearly seen here in the Mitsubishi Destinator. And guys, if you reached this part of the video, thank you for watching. Let us know in the comments section down below what you think of the Mitsubishi Destinator. And stick around with CarGuide.PH for the full review of the Mitsubishi Destinator coming soon.